What's going on, everybody? It's Carmine from Barmine Tech, and today we're going to talk about self-hosting our own Plex media server. So over the last, couple of years, year or so, Netflix, Hulu, all these subscription streaming services have raised their price. Netflix is cracking down on sharing your account. It's getting out of hand. You got to pay $150, $200 a year to stream shows, and then they still have ads in them. So why not self-host your own Plex server, have all your own media on there, share with your friends, nobody cares, and it's free. Or you can get the Plex Pass, and it's one-time purchase for life, and you get better services than Netflix offers. So we're going to talk about how to set up your own Plex media server. We're going to cover the Plex Pass, and let's just get right into it. It's a good video, so let's keep working. So if you've been looking around, you can see Netflix is cracking down on their password sharing. Their plans are going up and up. So I'm just looking at their basic plan. It's $6.99 a month, or I think it's about $80 a year, and you get one device. You don't get a good quality. You have to have ads in your videos. It's really not that great of a deal in my opinion. It's the same thing with Hulu. It's almost $100 a year to still watch ads in all your shows and movies and everything else. So you get live TV with Hulu, but it doubles the price. It's really out of hand. Where Plex, you can stream TV shows, movies, and you could do all this free. You don't even have to host your own server if you don't want to. You can watch it on all different devices, and it's always free for the basic plan. They do Plex Pass. So Plex does have the Plex Pass where you can upgrade, so they do have a subscription, but with it you get more benefits to already free services. So you could either do it monthly, or you could do it, which the way I recommend is the lifetime plan. Especially if you catch it on a sale, it could be anywhere from $80 to $100 for life, instead of Netflix trying to charge you this price per year. Plex's TV shows do still have ads in them. They have commercials, but it's free. You're not paying for them. So, it's a good trade-off. And then you could just host your own Plex server. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So I'm not going to chit-chat anymore. We're going to get right into it. So I built the VM earlier in the day, and it's running Ubuntu 22.04. It's running the LTS version, and it's a simple VM. It's got 2 gigs of RAM, 1 core, and a 50 gig hard drive. This should be scaled up by how big of a Plex server you plan to run. So if you plan to have multiple streams, 3, 4, 5 streams at once, you should scale this up to maybe 2 gigs, 2 cores, and maybe 4, 6, 8 gigs of RAM. You don't want the hardware bottlenecking how many streams you could have. Typically I have at least 2 streams running if I'm watching it on my TV or my friend's watching it, and we never experience any bottlenecks. It can be bumped up. You have to figure out your limitations for your machine, but I would say the minimum at least 2 cores, 4 to 6 gigs of RAM. I'm not going to go over how to set up the VM. I'm just going to go over how to install Plex on this video. So if you need help installing the VM, go back a bunch of videos, and I have how to set up Proxmox and set up your first VM, and I'll have a card up in this corner of showing it. So you could go back to that video, set up a VM if you need it, and then come back to this video and set up Plex. So let's keep going. So I made another write-up to go with how to install Plex. Plex has a good write-up with it, but I think it has a little bit too much in it, and it can be a little confusing, so I made a nice clean one just to how to install Linux. So after you get your VM running, make sure it's all up to date, upgraded. So I'm going to skip that, but we're going to come in and we're going to start making our directories we need. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make my directory. And I have all the steps and everything you needed in the write-up. So then we're going to switch into my directory, and we are going to navigate to the Plex site and go get our download file. So after we get over to here, we can see it has all the different operating systems, and we're going to get the latest version for Linux. We're going to click our distro, and I'm going to right click, and we're going to copy the link. And then if we come back over here, I show the same stuff, get the distro, and then go from here, and then we're going to wget the link. Give it my password. Okay, so I had a little issue with wget. If you have a similar issue with wget where it's not giving you the right DEB file, check out WinSCP. It's a great tool. It uses SSH and it's an interactive GUI file transfer program. It runs right off Windows. You can SSH into the machine, you choose your directory, and you can just drag it over from your Windows machine into your Linux machine. I did that really quick, so if you have an issue with wget2, check that out. But now we're going to move on to installing Plex again. So after you get it, you see I have my file, and now from here we're ready to use the dpkg command. So to do this, we're going to use sudo dpkg space tac I, and then we're going to put in the file we're looking to do, and this is going to run the installer. So we're going to do sudo dpkg tac I Plex, and then if you hit tab, it'll finish it out, and then you hit enter, and it works, and it does it all on its own. So this will run through, and it will work to install files, and you can see it's working through, and now it's all done. So we're going to do one more thing before we move out of here, just to make sure that the machine is all set up, and we're going to open up the firewall for the port that Plex uses. So I'm going to do sudo ufw allow 32400. And you could see it updated my rules, so now my port's open, so it'll allow the traffic over that port for the machine. If you get an error saying that UFW is not installed, you can use sudo apt install UFW, it'll install the packages, and then you could use it. It's just an easier tool to open up the firewall for what you need. So before we move out of here, I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to cd back to my home directory. We're going to add the Plex repositories, so when we update our machine, it'll also update Plex. So Plex will pop up every now and then, say, hey, new version's out. I recommend you look over the change log, make sure there's nothing too drastic going on that might risk breaking your machine. I like to look over, make sure it's not giving me some crazy update, because I don't want to break my Plex server. I like when it runs. But however you're feeling to do it, but if we add these two repositories, it automatically makes it so we run sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. It automatically updates Plex when it updates our machine. So let's do that real quick. So I have the links, I have the command, and we'll just paste that in, and we'll grab the other one, and it's all done. So now if I run sudo apt update, that works, and that's finishing up. And then when that finishes up, I'm going to run upgrade tac y, and now this is running, and I'm going to let this run, but as it runs, it's going to get my machine up to the latest version, but it's also going to update Plex to the latest version. So I'm going to let this finish, and then we're going to move on again. Okay, and now my machine finished upgrading. You can see everything's up to date, so that means not only is the machine up to date, but so is Plex. So now we're actually all set to move on and go check out our actual Plex interface. So the format to access Plex in the browser is the host IP for the machine, port 32400/web. And this will pull us over to the actual Plex homepage that will show us. So let's go there. I'm going to make this full screen. So we're going to go to 192.168.50.105/:32400/web. And here we are coming over to Plex. So this is loading up, and now this is what's actually coming off of our server. So you can see it's telling me the application is there and it's not hosted by Plex, and only if we recognize it to go on. So we do. This is our machine, and Plex is telling us it needs somebody to work with it. So I'm going to make my own account with my email. You can make it however you want, but I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to sign up with email. We're going to use the good old Barmine Tech and make the account. So after you get in, this is what your Plex interface will look like. I'll give it another second to finish up. But Plex has a nice web interface. It also has compatibility with Amazon, Roku, iOS, Android. You can watch on your laptop, you can watch on your iPad, you can watch on your Kindle, you can watch on a whole bunch of stuff. It's recognized all over a lot of different appliances, and you could stream it almost anywhere. So after your page loads, or if it gets hung up, just refresh it. This is what you're going to see. It's going to show you how Plex works, but so am I. So I'm going to click Got It. a whole bunch of different things. It's going to ask you if you want the Plex Pass. You don't need it, but if you do, you can purchase it. So, like I said, you can buy the Plex Pass if you want. If you want to give Plex a try for a few months, see how you like it, see how your friends like it. If you're going to share it with your friends, more power to you. That's what I did. I used Plex for a few months, and then on the Black Friday sale, I bought my Plex Pass. So I bought it on a sale price, and it was well worth it. You get hardware transcoding, you get all the good features you need. I actually did the monthly pass first until I could swing the lifetime pass. If you plan to share with your friends, I highly recommend getting the pass. If you're only going to maybe stream to your smart TV or your Fire Stick and maybe run a stream off your laptop, you could probably let it rock for a little bit. But like I said, if you want to try Plex out, see how you like it before you commit to it, go ahead. And if you like it, then move on, maybe get the pass. But we're going to go on for, I'm going to skip this one, and we're going to keep going. So we can give our server a name. So it's going to be Barmine Tech. And I'm going to make it so I can allow it outside of my house. So it's going to make it public, and it goes through Plex to actually stream it that way. So if you don't have the pass, I'm pretty sure it works this way, and it will configure it so it can be accessed outside of your house. So I'm going to click Next. And you can get ratings. I'm going to do No. So Plex will also manage and organize your media. So if you have a NAS you're using, like the NAS video I talked about, you can host your own NAS and put all your media on there. And not only is it accessible to your Plex server, but if you want to access it off of something else or make it easier to move media across. I don't currently have the NAS attached to this, so I'll probably just make a quick directory. So I'll just make directory test media mkdir, and then I'll put something in there in a minute, but at least I have it so we can test it out. So I'm going to click add media, or add movies. We're going to call it movies, and I'm going to browse for it, and right, it's close enough. Use home Carmine. I'll put a file in there just to show you, but you would attach it to wherever your share is. So like if you follow my NAS video, it's under NAS most likely is your share, and so your NAS would be attached to the share directory of NAS, and you would just put NAS, and that would be your media, and then Plex will filter it out and see what's a movie, what's a TV show. It knows on its own, so you don't need to divide it again. It does it for you. So we'll add the library. I'll click Next. There's apps you could do. We're not going to go over that right now. I'm just going to show you how to host it and access it out of the browser. I'm going to click Done. And more options. Plex does music. It does a whole bunch of different stuff. So I'm just going to finish my setup so we can get into this. It asks you some of your favorite streaming services. I'm going to skip it because it just clutters things up a little bit. Close this out. So when you actually get into your Plex server, this is what it's going to look like. It gives you all the stuff that Plex actually offers. So these are movies and TV shows that Plex has on their service, and they rotate them monthly. But you can come in and you can watch all this stuff for free, included in your free membership. Gives you all different settings, all this different stuff. But then if we come over to more, we have movies. It's also over here. Here's our movie tab. So we don't have any video, so I'm gonna put a file in here real quick, and then we'll come right back. So when you upload some of your media that you have to your Plex server, it would look something like this. So like I have all of House on my Plex server. So it gives you a nice description. It shows you the official description of it because it uses the TVDB database to actually pull all the information. It categorizes all your seasons, gives you the actors, any extras it has. You can click in your seasons and split it all up, watch everything. It works out really nice. So this is off my actual Plex server just because I'm running into an issue with getting the media to show up, because it wouldn't be a video of mine without some sort of issue. But I just wanted to show you this is what it looks like in the actual Plex server when you add your media to it. But cutting back over to the new Plex server, so there are some settings you can configure. I recommend doing it. So if you come over here to the settings option, there are some things in here you can come into. So I would say check out quality. So when you come in here, it's actually going to be a little bit slower. It's going to give you 2 megabytes, and it's only going to let you stream. Now this is outside off the internet. So if you're streaming off the internet, it's going to cut down your quality to save on your internet streaming. So I like to base mine off what my upload speed is. So my upload speed is 30. So I like to do about half of that just so I don't eat up all my up speeds. So I do maybe 10 to 12, and I get 1080. Save that, that's all set. Come over to player, you can change some of that stuff if you need. In general, I like to show the advanced options. So that stuff's really all good. Quality is good. If you want to start adding users, so besides you, because you're always automatically added to it, you could add your friends. So if you would come over here to manage library access, this is where you can give your friends access. So you'd grant library access, and you could either enter their username if they already have a Plex account, or their email, and it will send them an invite and it will show them how to set it up, and then they'll get access to your Plex account, your Plex server, and be able to watch movies and all that stuff with you. It's pretty cool when you add people, because you could do a watch party, so everybody could be at their houses and you could have a big watch party and whatever. If you're going to be on a Discord call, it's another good way to stream the movies, to share everything. Remote access is a big one. So you do need to, if you plan to get it outside your house, you do need to open it up so you can have access to it. So you need to open up ports in your firewall and port forward them open so Plex could reach out, and when people try to reach in, it knows what machine to hit. I'm not going to share that because I don't really want to cover that kind of stuff in these videos. If you've been home lab and you probably have an idea how to open a port, it's pretty simple. You could look up the manufacturer of your router and go from there, and it'll show you how to open up a port. But open up port 32400, and then Plex will be able to reach out, and then you could test it. And when it retests, it'll come back and it'll say it's good, and then there won't be any issues reaching out. Now, if you don't open up the port, it's not the end of the world. When you retest, it'll usually say it, but then it has an issue because the port's actually not open. So it's okay. It's just going to pop up. If you try to stream outside of the network, it's going to keep giving you a pop-up. I actually had this happen to a friend in the beginning when I started hosting my Plex server, because I didn't have my ports forwarded right. So if it can't hit the ports, it can't bounce back and forth, and you'll run into this kind of issue. But that's another thing to know. You go into your library, and some other good options are to scan your library periodically. So if you add media, every time you add something new, you got to rescan your library for Plex to see it. I like to check off scan my library periodically, and you can do it hourly or daily, whatever you want to do, however often you add stuff. So daily will probably work pretty good, and every day it will scan through your hard drives and see what new media you have. You can cut off watch time, so if somebody doesn't watch something for however long, it clears it back, whatever. Not really something you probably need to worry about. We're going to save these changes. And for the most part, this other stuff is, here we go, transcoder is a good one. So this is something that you need the Plex Pass for as well, and it helps a lot. So when you have your Plex Pass, you can enable hardware encoding. So if you have a GPU in your server, it could use your GPU. If not, it's only going to use your CPU. But you can set the transcoder for how it streams out to your users. So you can either do automatic, and it'll just automatically select which transcoding to use, or you can try to get higher quality or higher speed, or you can make it really work. I'm just leaving it on automatic for now. It's something for you to decide and really test out how your hardware works with everything. But I think other than that, those are all the big settings that we're going to talk about. We're going to dive deeper into plugins and some other stuff to add to our Plex server. But here we are with our own Plex server to host pretty much our own TV. So we did go over a lot in this video. It's covering everything you need to know to host your own Plex server. I've been running Plex for probably about 7 months, and it's great. I love it. My friends love it. Everybody that I've talked to has had a good experience with Plex. It's very supported. There's a lot of communities online for it. You can go on Reddit and always get answers. You can probably find Discords and get answers. Everybody's very helpful and welcoming to help you when you do need help with something. So I have to say I've had a good experience with Plex, and I've gotten pretty good with Linux with it too, because I've broken stuff, or I've broken Docker containers that go with my Plex server. So you're going to get a lot of practice in, and it's fun to have that hosting experience, especially when your friends text you and say Plex is down, because I had plenty of those at the beginning too. But this is how you set up Plex. You're going to run your own Plex server. I recommend it, and we're actually going to make a series of this, and we're going to make the ultimate home media server. We're going to make a whole little series going over Plex and some other options and add-ons to Plex and all good stuff. So if you're interested in this stuff, make sure you subscribe to stick around, and we're going to cover a whole bunch more about Plex in the future. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.